So assalamu alaikum everybody. This YouTube video is basically going to be about how I got closer to God. That noise was, it was my CD player in my car. I probably said that before in one of my vlogs, but yeah. So I know you guys kind of got the revert story on how I became a Muslim and my take on it. That video actually did really good. So if you guys like that I am talking about my revert story or I'm sharing my experiences, comment down below and I'll do my best to, have some story times about what I've dealt with being a Muslim, my first Ramadan experience, just anything involving, my story and you guys are curious about it. Just comment down below and let me know so I can share more of that, because that video did really good, mashallah. I'm very glad that a lot of people tuned into that, because it was a 20-minute video and I didn't think a lot of people would really tune into it like they did. And they did. And mashallah, I'm very grateful. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showed me my community a little bit. Without further ado, I just wanted to really help people who are trying to build that relationship with God. And I'll tell you guys first things first. And I'm gonna be honest, I took this idea from somebody. It was a young Muslim woman influencer, I believe. You know how on YouTube when you're scrolling through videos and sometimes it just plays the video? So there is this video of a woman who basically was writing Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in her journal. And she was saying how this is how she gets closer to God. And so I was like, let me do this exact same thing and see what works for me. So I had a journal and I would always say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And I would basically, if it was morning, I'd say, good morning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How are you? I would ask them questions like, what was your favorite part of the day that you seen or something? But simply things like that really helped me get more of a connection with God, because instead of me always, creating this visual that God's far away from me, me writing to him made it seem like he was just right there or just in my circle or right next to me. That was probably the biggest, I'd say, way of how I got close to God, because it really just helped me understand, man, this feels nice. It's like I'm venting and I'm giving all of my energy while writing, talking directly to God. So it's like a journal directly towards you and God having a conversation. Now, the pro with that is you can be able to write down exactly all the insecurities you have, everything that you're going through. And so when you're going through something in the present moment, you can reflect back on what you were writing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and see if this aligns with the present moment. So it's like you kind of help yourself out, because you get to write down exactly what you feel like you're experiencing is really hard for you. And then in the present moment, when it's been a few days after, you can see if you're experiencing what you prayed for. If you've asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you be strong, go back into your journal and see if you're saying, I feel weak, I want to be in a position where I can feel strong. And then it can click and be like, oh, and it kind of helps you stay a little bit more confident. But another way for me was community. When I became a revert Muslim, when I started hanging around the brothers a lot, that really helped me be mindful of God, because being around people who are on the same mindset of putting God first is by far one of the best feelings ever. I have to intentionally make sure I'm focused on who's around me. When you have a lot of people who are around you and they're focused on God, that can help shape you to be a stronger man. And if you're a sister, be a stronger woman as well. You need to be around people who are like-minded. Overall, you want to make sure you have good company. Another way that I got closer to God was simply me basically going outside and talking to him. So even times like this, I'll be sitting down and I would basically just vent. I would let it all out. Sometimes it'll be daytime, sometimes it'll be the morning, and I'll just go on a walk, and I'll use that walk to help me get more closer to God by talking to him, by asking exactly what he is teaching me, what I can do to be a better servant, and to really help me be mindful of everything that I'm saying. Now, that was probably the most second thing that I've definitely cherished, because writing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is it's very strong, I should say, because I've never in my life made a journal dedicated to only Allah and allowing myself to actually build a relationship with him, or asking him about how was his day or what was his favorite part of the day. Like, I look at myself now compared to the past, and I wasn't asking God all these questions, or I wasn't focused on building a relationship with God. I'd say another thing for me as a revert Muslim, I learned about tahajjud prayer. So basically, if you're a non-Muslim, tahajjud prayer is basically a prayer before Fajr. And Fajr is our morning prayer that we do to get the day started. So that is our first prayer that we are obligated to do as a Muslim. And so before Fajr, there's a prayer called tahajjud prayer. So basically, you pray that, and you are like literally in the presence of God in a way, because it's said that he's like right exactly next to you, like right directly next to you as you're, performing this prayer. And so for me, I started doing it, actually, I'd say like a few days ago. I didn't just start, I should say, but I've done it before, but I kind of took a break from doing it because, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't waking up as early. My schedule for sleep wasn't really good, so I wasn't waking up at the time that I would want to. And now I've kind of just really worked hard on going to sleep early, making sure I'm hydrated, making sure I'm treating myself with responsibility so I can, go to bed at a great time. And so with that being said, I prayed tahajjud I don't want to say it was last year, but it feels like it was. But there was a time where I was going through a money situation, and basically I needed around some sort of money. I forget exactly the reason. I just know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me when I least expected it. But it was for something. And I was scared because I was asking people for help, but it was like nobody was like going at the speed that I needed, because I just needed something for an emergency. And I knew that I had to, it dealt with having money. And so for me, I prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was like, yo, Allah, I need some help. I need this money so I can be able to afford so-and-so. And I think I was unemployed too. And so with that being said, I was very scared because I don't know what exactly I had going on with my life. I asked Allah, like, please help me out. Please help guide me to something. Please get me something so I can, get on my feet. And I checked my bank account, and there was around $2,000 in there. And I was like, oh. And it was for, I forget, something. It was for something that was invested for me. And for me, I just was like, whoa. And I cried. I'm not going to lie. I shed a tear because, like, having $2,000 was what I didn't expect that. Like, it could have been just the amount that I need to pay for what I needed to. But it was over that, like, plus. And so I was very grateful for that moment. I also prayed to Allah about getting a job. And this is crazy. So right when I prayed tahajjud prayer, basically, like, throughout the day, a job called me saying, hey, are you interested in this position? And I was like, holy crap. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was just I was frightened because I was like, oh, this was fast. Like, it was so fast. And another thing that I've learned is doing your best to stay away from sin really helps you stay connected to God. And I've talked about this before, but for me personally, pornography was a huge thing for me. And I do my very best to lower my gaze, to not watch anything that's haram, because it ruins that connection with Allah. Because now you're idolizing something else that is what the shaitan wants to basically increase. So it's like ruining your iman, it's ruining your deen, and it's making you feel less of a person. Now, for me, obviously, we talk about lowering our gaze. And so for me, that's what I do to my best of my ability, and also do my very best to not go out to like haram comfort, because that's going to only ruin your iman and deen even more. So like the whole vision that you should have towards getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking it slow. Like read one page of the Quran and go to sleep. That's what Mufi Meek, I think that's his name. I'm probably saying his name wrong. But that's what he had said when I was listening to one of his podcasts. It's like, soon enough, you're going to start wanting to read even more and more and more and more. And it's going to help you be able to basically just, get more closer to Allah. Like, my whole journey with God and how close it is now, like, definitely is by far the best. I know a few du'as that I've made too. Like, As a revert Muslim, my storage wanted to catch me lacking. But what I was getting at was basically, for me as a revert Muslim, I knew that I was supposed to perform my 5 daily prayers. Now, when I would perform them, I would just continue on with my day and just call it that. And that's good. That's a good thing. But for me, I also wanted to build that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even stronger. So I started making du'as. Basically, what I would do is pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would perform my 5 daily prayers, which is very good. But I felt like I wanted to have a more stronger relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I started creating du'as and I started just praying them after every salah, so I didn't just up and leave. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to up and leave. Now, if you feel like your relationship with Allah is okay and strong, I guess that's fine. But for someone like me who obviously became a revert Muslim last year and didn't really have a close connection to God, for me, this is very personal because I'm firm in my faith now. Like when I was first looking into Islam, obviously I was very hesitant because I didn't understand it. And then when I finally took my Shahada, then I understood exactly what faith and what I was standing for and how I was going to represent myself. But yeah, making a lot of du'as after every salah was definitely one of the biggest ways of how I got closer to God, because all of this was not obligated. Half of it wasn't obligated. I was choosing to do it because I just knew that I wanted to be closer to God. Another good way could be fasting. Like currently right now, I'm fasting from 7 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. So it's around 10 hours. And for me, it's just been helping me. I told myself that this is my hardworking month. So when I was fasting on the month of Ramadan, I was basically more focused. I was more on my path. And, you know, I'm doing the same thing now. It's not the same amount of hours that I was doing with Ramadan, but it's still helping me. And I still feel that burn. Sometimes I still want to eat. Sometimes I still want to just have something small or just drink, you know, some water. But doing that is helping me attain discipline, because that's what we need. Discipline is going to help you be more confident with who you are and be more closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants discipline from us. Like praying 5 times a day, I put up 10 fingers. I keep doing that. Praying 5 times a day and fasting on the month of Ramadan, donating charity, like all these discipline tactics are good for us because the reward is so much better. But if you guys have any questions about my journey about Islam, or if you want to know a little bit more things, please comment down below. Let me know exactly what you guys want to learn about me in terms of a revert Muslim. Maybe I'll make like a 30-minute video, another 20-minute video. But if this video helped you, I really hope that you can take everything that I kind of said and put it into consideration. Start focusing on enjoying your life. Start focusing on discipline and put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. Always. Assalamu alaikum.